Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, 3 Steps to a Best-in-Class Client Portal. My name is Michelle and I will be your moderator. Well, with me today I have Andrew Stewart. Andrew works with customers like you every day to ensure your account is being optimized. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, so on our agenda today, we will be reviewing how to promote your client portal, adding client folders to ShareFile, and finally, building an effective client folder structure. We are recording today's session, and we will be sharing that recording out with everyone shortly after the conclusion of our webinar. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar today in the question and answer panel. We do have Chris on the back end who will answer some questions as he can, and then we'll have a live Q&A at the end for Andrew. All right, Andrew, let's get started.
Thanks, Michelle. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here with you today talking about the client portal. I think it's important we define it first and foremost before we get into it. So how does ShareFile define a client portal? Simply put, it's a central secure hub for you and your clients to organize, save, and share large or sensitive documents. That is the overarching mission. We've outlined a couple easy steps for you to position this to your client and some talking points for you. So this is an easy way to upload files of any type. And when I say upload files into a particular folder location within the ShareFile web portal, that could be a JPEG, a PNG, an MP4, video or audio file, and of course any of your Microsoft Suite file types. Another cool feature of the portal is that you and your clients receive notifications of activity, right? So when a client downloads a file, you get notified. When they activate their account, you get notified. If you upload a file to a particular folder for that client, they get notified there's new data in there. These notifications happen in real time. And finally, clients love the ability to feel secure, right? You can, when you create them as a user, you assign them a password or they create their own password, and you can have them log in to access these files and folders and really truly customize their comfort using our client portal. So why use a client portal? So you may or may not realize how many additional features that ShareFile has, mainly this central storage and sharing hub. We have a lot of really good plugins for Outlook via email, e-signature and remote access solutions, but mainly these benefits of the client portal are as follows. It's a free and unlimited storage set, right? You have unlimited storage with your business plan in ShareFile. It's a secure communication channel for you and your clients. So instead of sending emails, because sometimes emails get lost or they get misfiled or they might not reach it, or if you plug in the email address incorrectly, that file might not reach your customer. This is a easy 24/7 self-service solution for your clients so they can log in on their own time, especially if they're working nights and weekends or outside of standard business hours. They have a location to go and access all of the information you guys have been exchanging. This electronic audit trail. So there are a plethora of reports within the administrative settings of your account that allow you to track folder access, usage, file transfer, user creation, just a ton of different reports that you can initiate on a one-time basis or make it a recurring monthly, weekly cadence so you can monitor your client's access to the account. A branded account, that magenta circle on the top left side, we're going to actually show you one here in a moment, but this gives your customer experience seamless. So it'll have your logo, your color scheme, and when they click in to log into it, they should recognize that this is the company I'm doing business with. Finally, the client portal gives you the ability to stay organized. Within each folder, you can control the subfolder structure as well as the permissions of every user on that folder. So if you don't want your users to be able to add new files, delete files, rearrange the structure, etc., you don't have to give them those permissions, and you can really customize it based on your business. All right, I'm assuming that most of you have already logged into ShareFile, but if you have not, or if it has been a while, this is an example of a sample client portal within ShareFile. Now, this could reflect how an accountant or financial advisor would set up their portal in order to keep track of their clients' work. As you can see up at the top, there's a root folder called Clients, and all of the folders that you see here are actually inside the client's folder. We call this a root folder. It's the highest level folder that you're working in. And this structure is highly encouraged because it keeps all of your shared data in one place, thus keeping personal and business storage separated. So in addition to that separation, another benefit is that you side. So you can make changes to that root folder, as I just mentioned, and have that trickle down throughout this entire folder structure because those permissions are done on the root level. All right, next we have a sample folder that would be good for industries such as construction, project management, manufacturing, etc. And this structure allows you to use your client portal in a more project-based way. For example, this construction root folder shows project manager subfolders, or if you were in the real estate industry, this could be property or contract folders. And what's really, really cool about this folder structure is think of how you're currently storing your information, how you currently share files. Maybe you're on an on-premise storage solution or maybe in a competing cloud solution and you haven't moved everything over yet. No matter your industry, we allow you to duplicate that structure, right? We can import a whole lot of information with existing files and structures in place, and it shows up to look much like you see here in this construction example. All right. One of the most fun pieces of this is how do I get my clients on board with a client portal? So I'm going to take a couple moments just to talk about how to promote and position it within your business. So to engage your customers with this portal, it is the first day you introduce them to this. Tell your customers about the portal, why you use it, i.e., it's easier than email, it's more secure, it's a one-stop shop, it's less time-consuming, etc. Also, make sure to stress the types of files that this portal is meant to store and share, aka secure data. For example, tax forms, patient health information, large project files if you're an engineer, photos, videos, iterations of design work, and just overall confidential information. What I see a lot of ShareFile users doing is when you begin your relationship with a new client, establish these preferences of communication. Now, this could be something you do in an email, face-to-face, on the phone, or you could even send them a communications preferences PDF through ShareFile and exchange your first electronic document that way. But make sure you're all on the same page of what files should be emailed, what files should be uploaded, and utilize the ShareFile encryption methods that we have at our fingertips. All right, so we just alluded to the two different ways to share information, right? Email or portal. As you can see on this screen, those two ways to provide client easy access. The first arrow in the bottom left-hand side, the click here to send me secure large files. What this represents is Nyla Holt's email signature. So that is a permanent link that can be placed in your email signature so you can condition your clients to use that in a previous email to upload files directly to your web portal. Now, this is a general request files link, so unless you stipulate that it's going to a particular folder, it'll land in your file box within ShareFile, and you can organize, move, etc. once the file has been uploaded. So we recommend that that's placed in all emails, whatever your most common email signature is, and as you highlight it, draw a lot of attention to it, put a cool little emoji in there, something to condition your clients to utilize that piece. Now, on the right-hand side, that magenta arrow, the client login box, what we see here is Provider Solutions Group is a client of ours, and this is representative of a hyperlink that they have placed on their website. So Andrew Stewart, consulting as a client of Provider Solutions, I'll go into their website, I'll hit client login, it'll actually redirect me to their ShareFile web portal that has been branded with their logo, so I can log in and access the files that I, as a client, have been granted.
Hey, Andrew, before you leave that screen, I just wanted to let everyone know that in the follow-up email that we'll send out to you tomorrow with the recording, you will also receive a handout that is called ShareFile Portal Intro Document. And this is something that we have created for you, our customers, to give to your clients and customers to help you promote the portal and to help your clients understand why they need to use the portal as your preferred method of communication. So as Andrew just set up why, setting expectations with your clients and customers as to why to use it, we're also going to provide you with that document that you can send to them when you set up with your client, or, if you want to move your clients to a client portal now that you've seen this presentation, we'll give you that document to help you explain and share out with them.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about adding clients to ShareFile. So I'm going to flip over here to my ShareFile account and allow you to see this in real time. Excellent. So here we have our ShareFile subdomain. So we're going to log into my training account. This will be your particular company name.sharefile.com. I'll hit sign in. Left-hand side, we're going to focus on the People tab. So within People, we have a couple different options, the third one down being Browse Clients. What I like to do is click into this and just confirm what clients I have set up. So right now, I just have a colleague of mine, Chris, on here. If I want to create a single client or multiple clients, I can do that from this screen using the green button in the top right-hand side. So let's say my business is fairly new. I have a handful of clients. I don't really need to upload them in bulk. I can do that one by one. But if you're an established business with hundreds of clients or 50 plus, whatever that number is, that will be a manual feat for you to upload them by hand, I recommend using our bulk folder upload tool, which I'll show you. So I'll hit create client here. I'll be able to type in the first and last name of my client. I want to put their company name in here, so if I needed to sort it or quickly find a user of a particular client, I can do that here with their email address. Now, I personally recommend leaving the password feature blank. So what that does is it takes a manual step off you, the employee user who's creating this client. So, for example, Chris Hinton, my colleague who's already set up as a client, when I sent him this login, this is not a password that I've created for him, and I said, hey, Chris, you're going to get a login prompt. Here's the password. It's going to make him reset it anyway, so I just skipped this step and let him put in his first password. I also don't want to set the expectation that I, as the employee user, will be managing his password from here on out. I want to put the onus on him for that particular management. Now I come into step 2. We can select 1 or 2 or none of these user settings, but in no way, shape, or form would you select none. The client users in ShareFile really only have the access to view, download, and upload files to a folder which they've been granted access to. So if you're going to experiment with this and test it out, right, take a test drive from the client side, you'll see that once they log in, their user interface looks similar to this with a lot less options. So they have very little power as far as managing any folders or affecting the use of ShareFile at all. Now, if we have folders set up, we can go ahead and add them to that. Let's say we have a particular distribution group we want them to be added to, or we want to copy access from a previous client. We can do all those things. At the top right-hand corner, we have this button that says need to import multiple users. This is what I alluded to for those of you with a lot of clients, a big book of business, a long-term book of business. This template spreadsheet here allows you to upload clients in bulk. I'll show it to you here in just a second. And you should see the Excel spreadsheet here starting with email address. So you'll go through, if you want to export your contacts out of Excel or Gmail or iMail, whichever mail you're using. You can put their email address, first and last name. Again, leave the password blank, and then you can organize them by company. You'll save this spreadsheet exactly how it sits, and you'll come back into the ShareFile web portal, and you will upload it to this location under step 2, where I'll choose the file that I just did. I'll hit open. Right, it's not a valid spreadsheet at the moment, but I'll import my users. It'll take about 30 seconds, and it'll take me through the sending a welcome email prompt, where I'll be able to disseminate that login information to all my customers all at once to get a lot of people in very easily. All right, let's talk a little bit about folder organization. Now, I showed you some samples in the slides prior, but I'm actually going to show you the creation process and a couple different ways to assign permissions and manage the folders within ShareFile. So I will close out of my user creation. On the left-hand side, second from the top, I'll click Folders. Now, we talked about root folders. What you see here is personal and shared folders. What I like to recommend to my clients is that personal folders is the information you work on that you don't necessarily want to share. And if you have a lot of client information you're putting in here, I would start the structure here within shared folders, and that takes us to that client folder that we saw at the onset of our training. So let's scroll down here, and let's say, let me create the Stewart Consulting Clients folder, okay? So I'm going to hit create. And now I'm brought into the contents of this folder. So it's a brand new folder. There's no data. There's no sub folders here. So I'll use the green circle. I'll hit create folder. I'll create client ABC. And if they've already been created as a client, I can hit yes. When I create it, it's going to allow me to add that user to the folder here and now. I'll choose Chris since he's already set up. And these folder permissions are only for Chris. So everybody on the left-hand side where it says apply permissions to, the 5 options on the right-hand side are what they're able to do to that folder. I definitely want to give them download and upload permissions so they can manipulate the information that's given to them. I most likely don't want to give them delete or administer. And please ignore the view feature as I have something different turned on this particular account. I'll hit add. Now I have client ABC created in my folder chain up here, and it allows me to upload information, create folders, develop my structure, how those examples showed you, or however you as the business operator see fit. Now let's say Chris is my client, but I need to go in here and add my administrator for Stewart Consulting Group. I'm going to want to come in and create a new user or add an existing user to the folder using this green button on the top right that says add people. And I'll go through that same. Let's see if Sarah's in here. She's not. So if I hit create new user, I can create a user here and now, send them the welcome email, and also send them the invitation to the folder so that we can add additional people to the folder. A lot of people ask me, Andrew, how many people can I have on these folders? You can have as many as you want on here. You can add just one, you could add 50 plus a distribution group. What's really cool about managing the access is you can do it from these shortcuts here. So we've got 6 boxes. I can come through and make sure that every time Chris uploads a file, I get notified as the folder owner. Let's say I want to give him permission to delete folders out of this. Let's say he's a contractor, a third party that's helping me manage a project. I'm giving him certain administrative rights to delete and manage the folder. I can do all this stuff on a folder by folder level, which is not reflected in the Stewart Consulting clients. So this is highly customizable. Perfect. I know it's a lot of information coming at you all at once, but once you do a couple of these, I promise you, you'll get the hang of it. E-signature. So ShareFile is a very robust tool. It also has a couple additional functionalities that you may or may not need, but here in this particular training, we're going to talk a little bit about e-signature. So Write Signature is our sister product. This allows you to initiate files for secure digital signature directly out of ShareFile. So if I was working in that folder that I had created for Chris, and let's say I uploaded a PDF I needed him to sign off on, let's say it's an engagement letter, I would simply right-click on it, hit Send for Signature. It would take it to Write Signature, initiate the file, and it would return it back to that folder once it's done. So if you'd like to learn more information about this, go ahead and drop your email address into the chat box, and we will definitely follow up with you on the opportunity to discuss Write Signature in more detail. All right, Michelle, back to you.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you so much. We have had a lot of questions come in, and we will get to as many as we can. Again, we do have Chris and we have Sam join us too. So they'll be answering questions in the background as well. So let's get to the first question that a lot of our customers had. Andrew, could you go into your Outlook and just show how to create that click here link to add it to your...
Absolutely. Give me just a moment to pull it up.
Thank you. And I will just, as Andrew's pulling it up, I will just address another question that came in frequently. And the question is this an added feature that you need to purchase? And the answer is no. This is one of, the main features that we have in ShareFile, and we encourage you to use it to its fullest. And as Andrew said, you can have as many client folders as you need. So no, this is not an add-on feature, and this is something that we hope that if you're not using now, you'll start using.
All right, so you should see a new email message on the screen here. So what you didn't see in the background was me logging into Outlook and filtering through the thousands of unread emails that I haven't looked at yet. But when I compose a new email, once you've successfully downloaded the Outlook plugin from the ShareFile apps page, in the top right-hand corner, we have a Request Files button. So this button has two pieces of it. Right, the button that you see highlighted in gray, the biggest piece, or the little down caret. This is where I generate those links, but I want to make sure that I generate a link that's permanent, so I don't have to come back in here every month and remember to do that, because let's be serious, we're not going to do that, we're too busy. So the standard notification, yes, perfect. This is the security parameters here of what information my customers have to enter in order to upload a file. I recommend just the name and email piece. This is for tracking purposes only, so you'll know that Chris Henton at chris.henton@citrix.com uploaded a file. It'll give me the file name. It also shows me if it's going into my file box. I know who gave it to me and who to look for. This expiration button right here, files and links expire after 6 months. I want to select never. And the default upload location here at the bottom is file box. So that file box is just a catch-all inbox in your ShareFile web portal. If I had a particular destination in my ShareFile structure, let's say it's client uploads or email uploads, I could actually select that here by clicking edit, navigating through the structure, and finding this subfolder, and now everything will be directed to this particular subfolder. So once I do that, I hit OK. It generates the hyperlink here in the body of the email. I'll simply right-click and hit Cut. I'll go up into my Signature tab along the highest most signatures, and then I'm going to choose the signature I want to add this to. So I've only ever operated on one signature. I made an update to it about 6 months ago, so I'll click into this. I'll navigate into the body of the signature that I want to place it in. I'll hit Enter. I'll hit Control-V to paste it, or right-click and paste. And then once I've added that permanent link, I'd hit save, okay, and then when I close out of this email, this is an important piece. You close out of this, you open up a new one, and the link should be reflected in the signature line where you placed it.
Thank you, Andrew. I know a lot of people had questions about that. And again, we will be sending you this recording. So if you missed a step in there, don't worry. We'll send you the recording and you can view it again. All right, so we had a couple questions come in about the welcome email. Two questions about that. Can a client be uploaded without actually sending that welcome email? It's the first question. And the second question is, can we kind of templatize a welcome email? So change what the standard message is now coming out of ShareFile and change it to what we want it to say every time we send it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So let me shuffle back here. All right, so we should be back in ShareFile. So let's actually go through, and I apologize, I should have gone all the way through the client creation process, but let's go through and do that. That'll address a lot of this. So let's choose Mrs. Client from 123 Main Street. This is not my real email address, it's a test email, so if you send me something here, I probably won't get it. But we'll set the settings. We're going to skip step 3. I'll hit create and continue. I'm going to continue without assigning a folder. And now we see this notification. So to the first question, to being able to hit skip here, I can skip this step. I don't actually have to send a user this notification email if I don't want to. Now, this happens a lot when people are just getting users into the system. And if you were to use a bulk folder spreadsheet, you'd go through similar steps like this, and it would allow you to forego the welcome email initially, where you can come back in and resend it. So let's say I want to skip this and come back in and add Mrs. Client a little later on. I could go into people at the very bottom and hit resend welcome emails, and this would allow, I'll type in her. There she is. I can customize the message here for this particular one. I can hit notify, and then that user will get the welcome email and login instructions. Let me just So the next question being, can we customize the template of the welcome email? In advanced settings, if I come into administrative settings in ShareFile, I click into company account info and edit company branding. This actually leads us to another piece that we skipped over today. So this is where I can add a logo to brand my account. So settings, admin, company account info, edit company branding. I can add the logo here if I'd like. And if I click this bold box, advanced appearance options, I can come in here and change the header and footer text of all notification standard emails that come out. So you can do it for the welcome email, but it will also affect all of the emails, notifications that come from ShareFile. So I'd recommend some form of standard verbiage that you can copy and paste into one mass welcome email and not touch this. But if you wanted to, you're welcome.
Great, thanks, Andrew. We had another popular question come in when you were showing that adding that link to your signature field. A lot of our customers aren't on Outlook. They are using Gmail or Mac email. Can they add that type of hyperlink signature to their email signature in another email client?
Yes, absolutely. So I navigated back here to the dashboard within ShareFile. So this is my home screen. On the right-hand side, if I click Request Files under Shortcut, it's going to give me two options. So I could send them a request email from the ShareFile web portal, right? Or I could get a link. So getting this link essentially accomplishes the same goal as what we just did through the Outlook client. So if I hit Request File Link, again, I'm able to choose where the file goes. I can also choose the link options, and I can set the access parameters. So I have never, right? I want them to enter their name and email for tracking purposes so I know who the file came from. I'll choose done, and I'll hit get a link. Now, it's not going to give you the pre-scripted click here to upload secure files to me, but if I copy this and I go into my, and I create a hyperlink, I can use that destination and just customize the text I want and add it to my signature in Yahoo or Gmail or Mac, whatever other, you can put it in. I've seen people put it in Twitter handles or any kind of social advertising, whatever it is, you can put that link that we just created wherever you'd like.
Great, thank you so much. We did have that question come in a lot, so I hope that clarifies it for our customers. We did have a couple questions come in as well about security. Can you just give a brief explanation of how using the client portal is secure and how using the client portal through ShareFile ensures that the documents that your clients are uploading and that you're sharing with them are indeed secure and it's more secure than using just regular email?
Yes, absolutely. So ShareFile uses a 256-bit encryption level. Now, that sounds very techy, and it is, but that's an institutional grade encryption. Institutions like FINRA and HIPAA, just to name a couple, love that level of encryption. So how is a file encrypted? Well, the file is encrypted because it's stored in a secure location that's not on your machine, right? So somebody could gain access to your machine, hack password. That to me is a very secure solution. Now, to the point of should I email this or should I send an encrypted link, the more often than not, data, and let me just preface this by saying I'm not a data security professional, but in my experience, people watching outgoing messages will take the destination, that pathway of the file, and go and hack into your computer and find something that they like. Using ShareFile to send that link, right? You're encrypting a file, sending it via a link. It's hidden. That pathway is hidden. So if somebody's monitoring your inbox, they can't go back into your machine or wherever that file originated and steal it because they don't know where it is. So the file is not actually being transferred. What happens is you encrypt a file using that Outlook plugin, let's say. It takes that file and it takes it up to your ShareFile portal and stores in your file box for 6 months. It then transfers the destination, which is ShareFile, and requires your user put in an email address and password, i.e. their unique login, and then they're directed to that file, which is stored in ShareFile. So it's not actually being sent. You're sending a secure link to it, which is then encrypted behind the password and username.
It does. Thank you. Yep, we had a lot of questions come in about security, and we always like to address that because, again, with ShareFile, that is one of the main reasons why people use ShareFile for the security features. So we had a couple of customers asking about, again, the order in which the steps they should take to set this up. So is the best practice to add the client first and then create the folders, or is it vice versa? Could you just reiterate, the order in which you recommend setting this up?
Absolutely, and the simplest answer is it just depends. It depends on what's easier for you or what your implementation plan looks like. I've had customers do it both ways with the same level of success. More often than not, if you're migrating from a hard drive or a local server, your biggest focus is getting your working data into ShareFile, right? So that business is not interrupted. Now, going that way and then creating the users and then giving them access to a folder structure that's very mature, I'd recommend doing it that way. Because if you give them access to a folder structure there's nothing in it, that's their first impression. So I'd love to see clients that have all the data set up, they have the folder organized properly, their folders, they've set the permissions, and then they send the welcome email. So that's the way I would recommend doing it.
Awesome, thank you. And then another question came in about adding folders. Can we batch add folders?
Yes, you can do that. That is something that so speak to your sales professional or your account manager. It's something we actually do on the back end. It's a very similar spreadsheet to what you saw with the client upload, except there's a folder button there. So if you'd like that, let us know. I can send you that template and the instructions to go with that, but we can certainly do that.
Great, thanks, Andrew. Our question queue is pretty long right now, and so whoever asked that question, if you just want to send the ShareFile webinars at citrix.com, send an email wanting those instructions, go ahead and send that. I manage that inbox, and I'll be happy to get those instructions to you from Andrew. Going back to folders, can you just explain the difference between what the personal folder is and what the shared folders are?
Absolutely, and this is one of the most popular questions I get. The simple answer is there's no difference, right? We've given you 2 root level storage areas that we've just named different things. Personal and shared folders do the exact same thing. You create folders, you assign users, you upload information, and you manage permissions. You do it all. We just help you break up where you store things. So as I said before, I recommend that personal folders are things that you're working on every day that you don't necessarily want to share. Let's say it's a project that you're presenting internally. No client needs to see that. You might have 1 or 2 users within the firm or the business that need access to it, but it's your stuff. Like I have hundreds of pictures from family vacation in there, and I have all my client folders or anything customer facing in shared folders. So we've just given you avenues to break it up.
Great, thank you. And then on this talk of folders, I did see a lot of customers commenting about notifications and permissions and how managing this with their clients can be tricky. And I just wanted to let everybody know that our support team is putting in a fix to this so that soon it'll be releasing, probably early Q2. You'll be able to mass edit folder permissions per user. So again, a lot of people were typing in that was kind of a pain point. So I did just want to mention that is a solution that we're working on, and will be probably our question queue is a little busy, so I can't respond individually to everybody, but I know I did see that question come in several times. Alrighty. So we have a customer who works a lot in Office 365. Is there a way that they can connect a link to a document library of a project that they're working on to provide access to their clients that way?
That's a really good question. And since that's such a unique use case, that would be something we should take offline.
Okay.
There's a lot of different dynamics of Office 365 that would affect the use of that. And it depends on what level license you have and what networking you have set up and things of that nature.
Got it. Thank you. And when a client uploads a folder and opens it, I am notified. Are they also notified when I receive their upload and when I open the document that they added?
Great question. So within the folder structure, you can get notification. You can give them notifications when you download a file, yes. And then if you give them notifications of upload, as soon as you put a new file in there, it'll tell them in real time, hey, Andrew Stewart has added a new PDF. Click here to view it. That you'd see in the actual folder under the specific user, so you can customize that on a user by user level. But yes, absolutely.
Okay, and kind of a similar question. Can you show where you can edit how long a client has access to a folder that they have been added to? So if you only want a certain client to have access to a folder for 3 weeks, I don't know if that's actually even a setting, but.
So that gets a little hairy.
Okay.
We can set file retention on a root folder level, but it's going to be very, very difficult, well, almost impossible to set that access for the customer. So what you need to do is come in and you go into their individual user profile and either suspend their use of ShareFile, disable their use of ShareFile, or delete them, or come into the particular folders I see. So if I add Chris here, so let's say 3 weeks is up, this project has concluded, I would click in here and remove Chris from the folder on the individual level. Now, if there's a lot of people that you'd be removing at once, it might behoove you to put in a distribution group. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it one by one. Now, to Michelle's point earlier, if that an editing feature, when that comes out Q2, I would assume it has something in there like this, but we won't totally know until it's developed.
Great, thanks. And I'm seeing a lot of questions come in, and I think it might just be a confusion about, so when we showed the screenshot of the accounting folder structure, the root file was clients, and then there was several, client folders listed underneath. So when, whoever was in that first folder, Andrew Stewart, you're in folder number 1, how does it work so that another client of yours doesn't see what's in Andrew Stewart's file? From this view, it looks like anybody could click into any of these folders. Can you just explain on the back end, when you're the actual client coming into the folder structure, how it looks a little different?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very common question. So the screenshots that we're showing you and the ShareFile portal that we're showing you are from the employee user side. Now, from the client side, they see the same login page, the same branding, they enter their credentials, and they'll see just folders on the left and settings. So when you're in ShareFile, they don't see, well, they'll see an inbox, but they'll see just see the dashboard and the folder. So what they do is when they click into folders, here on this screen, you should be able to see this screenshot. If they're not Hey Mitch Abernathy, they're not going to be able to see anything in here. So Hey Mitch will log in, he'll see his particular folder, click into it, and be able to access the files within it. You have to be added to that folder to see any of the other contents, because that would be a huge, huge, huge security breach if you could see every working file that I have for all my particular customers. That's why these customizable permissions are such a game changer, that you can do that on the folder by folder level, and that folder could contain 1,000 gigabytes of data, and all my customer sees is 1 or 2 PDFs in a folder with his name on it.
Great, Andrew, thank you. That definitely clears it up, because I know what you're seeing now is, like you said, your view, not what your client's going to see.
Correct.
So awesome. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up. We do hope that everyone was able to take away some learnings from our webinar today. Again, you will receive a link to the recording, so you can view this at any time that you'd like. And within that email will also be a link to download that handout that I mentioned earlier that you can share with your clients to promote your client portal. If you did about our e-signature tool, or if you would like that batch folder upload, I will be sure to get back to you with information on that. So thank you, Andrew, so much. Thank you, Chris and Sam in the back end. And thank you all for taking time out of your busy day today to spend some time with us. Until next time, have a wonderful day.